In the closing hours of 2024, I bought Gundam Breaker 4. I was craving for some more mecha action after Armored Core 6 blew my socks off. I got a chance to enjoy myself with Mech Warrior 5, and I had to wait for Mecha Break to finally drop in July. GB4 was amazing, at least for me it was. It served as the perfect way to indulge in custom mech action in a way that I haven't been able to fully enjoy in prior experiences. And it left me craving for a new hobby, Gunpla. And that's what brings us today as I chronicle my journey through 2025 in this amazing new hobby. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at each kit I built in the year from two different angles. First, I will review the kit itself, what I liked and disliked about it and whatnot. And then, I will review my abilities as a builder and see how I improved through each and every kit. Now, there's one thing I want to mention before we go in. You may notice all of these kits are panel lined. However, that's not something I started doing until this year. So I won't be mentioning my skills or anything to do with panel lining unless it's relevant to the kit itself. With that said, let's get started. Being a humble fellow with little pocket change after limited employment, I got this set as it was easily the most cost effective. And also, it's literally named for beginners, so it was a no-brainer. Though admittedly, the actual booklet, while having plenty of pictures that helped my understanding, it being almost all Japanese wasn't as helpful for exacts. Still, it was a great boon in helping introduce concepts and tools to me. As for the kits, I built Gramps first since it kind of felt like an obligation, but also I liked the Zaku more, so if I was going to be goofing it up, better the Gundam be the victim. And boy howdy, it was certainly a victim with all these nubs and uneven sanding marks. We all gotta start somewhere though. The kit itself holds up quite well, with solid articulation and a stable build. I think my only complaint is that the V-fin connection was fairly loose, requiring me to use glue if I wanted to keep it in place. Back to my technique, while still very rough, it's not my worst work. To be honest, it's like a newbie's first full sushi roll. It looks rough, but it's made with love, and that's what matters most. Onto my preferred of the two. I put off the Zaku 2 for a bit while I waited for cement to come in, since I noticed it was covered in the guidebook. Naturally, I wanted to give it a go and try some seam line removal. The results were fairly mixed, since I didn't have the right sanding tools for the job, a running theme for the year. If anything, this was one of the main reasons I spent a lot of time avoiding sanding. The kit itself is a mixed bag. There are plenty of accessories and the overall build has some good articulation. The stability is mixed though. The suit itself, fine, but the weapons don't really hold their position well, skewing at the slightest movement, and the attachables do not attach well at all. Still though, it's not a bad kit by any means, just older in design. My technique here is hard to evaluate, since I was using something completely new to me, but I think the mistakes here still haunt my build habits to this very day. I have a certain fondness for this guy. I built it after having a rough moment with friends, and it really helped center myself. I was saving it at the time as I didn't have stable income, but I really needed the joy of building. And hey, this ain't a bad kit for that. It is a departure from the standard limb build style, which is interesting, but isn't all that difficult. The quality of the build is good too. The parts, while thin at times, still feel sturdy and good to the touch. My only gripe I have with this is all the ball joints. A note on this connection type is that they grow weak fast, and can even start really loose as well. While the Z-Got kinda needs them, this does result in things such as the legs needing to be firmly on the ground, which limits your posing options. Onto my technique as a builder, I'd say I did pretty good work here. There aren't too many noticeable nubs left around, and I don't remember anything going awry with this one. Definitely a noticeable improvement over my first two. Now this fellow right here was the second big influence for my sanding avoidance. Due to the detailing on IBO kits, it was much easier for some nubs to blend in with the rest of the build. The inexperienced builder in me saw that and ran with it far too long. Now, build-wise, the Grace is a delight, though the IBO line in general is one of my favorites, so I should be a little bit biased here. It's probably the second most stable kit in the entire line I've experienced. No loose joints, good attachments for most of the pieces, and while posing can be a slight bit difficult, it can usually hold just fine. The details are exquisite as well. It's real eye candy. The stickers weren't half bad either. All in all, this is a really good kit. My skills, meanwhile, were okay. I still didn't quite give up on sanding altogether, however, I got really lazy once my epiphany struck. And now I have all these visible nubs to look at. But beyond that, I don't have any other issues with it. Just the knowledge that I need to remember this habit and quash it in future builds. This kit will always stick with me because it's the first one I had to fix up after a bad cut from the runner. This bit between the shoulder and arm snapped along the thin side. Luckily, I had that cement and I was able to repair it, and I feel pretty good about that. Wish I could say the same for about the kit itself. While it definitely looks nice and comes with a few extra options, the stability is not there for me. I don't quite get why. But no matter what I do with this guy, it feels like it's going to topple. And trust me, I know it's going to tumble because it's the one that always falls over. Stick this one on an action base. On the note of posing, I really don't like the connection on the hands. They just come off too easily, which further limits what you can do with this kit. It's still passable, just a bit rough. Technique-wise, you can see that epiphany from the Grace hit in full force. Just look at the sheer amount of nubs here. Genuinely a little ashamed here. Even for my decent sticker work and doing a repair, I'm not proud of this guy. Overall, a very mixed experience in retrospect. Ah yes, the Leo. What a gem. Can you tell I love my grunt suits? I built this guy during a power outage, so soon after the Blue Destiny as well. Kit-wise, you have a treat with a simple build process, excellent stability, and great articulation. A testament to the Revival Project's success. The only real negative I have is the ankle armor connection. Everything else is quite enjoyable and quite sturdy. Onto my building skills, and I can confirm I did do some sanding work with this kit, but there's still quite a few nubs left hanging. Since it's my early work, I would give myself some lenience, but this kit comes with no stickers, and with the simplicity, I really should have made the attempt to do better. Now this fellow is a unique case, because I've had the pleasure of building this guy twice, so I have a lot more experience with this kit as opposed to the rest of my collection. However, I'll only mention the first build in my retrospective to be accurate. Being the poster boy for the line, it really embodies the successes and failures of it. Barbatos is packed with detail from top to bottom, true of all Gundam frames in this line. It's also a simple build that introduces you to the basic inner frame for these particular kits. Finally, you did get a couple of accessories, namely a whole extra arm, with the option to get more with the option part kits, which was great at the time, but since these kits are being merged into the modern option set kits at a much slower rate, your mileage may vary. Even though it's my favorite line, I have to be objective, and there are some issues with Barbie. The Gundam frame is prone to having loose connections, with Barbatos's being the neck and feet in particular. Because of this, even though the articulation might be excellent, posing will be a challenge. Barbatos especially isn't a very stable kit, so an action base might be a smart investment. Finally, IBO stickers can be a hassle to deal with, as most kits make use of them, and they aren't easy ones. Barbatos has them covering the lights of the armor. Specifically, the shoulders are the worst due to the angles on the top of a curved surface. Still a passable kit, just flawed, which is something to keep in mind when buying IBO kits. Skill-wise, this is probably the best case for my no-sanding approach to dealing with nubs. It's way easier to shave and forget white Gunpla pieces, and I did put a bit of effort to properly commit to it. Sticker-wise, not my best, but again, these stickers are genuinely tough to work with, so I think I did fine at the time. Overall, satisfied with my work. Now, this kit is a humble champion of the high-grade line and really shows how good an inexpensive kit can be, as well as the quality of the Revive project. Build-wise, you have a high-grade jam-packed with details, especially in places you wouldn't expect. Articulation-wise, you have an insane range of motion and options, points of note being with the extra hand, the toes bending, and the range of motions on the shoulders on top of a solid ball joint connection. And it's very stable on top of that. Every nitpick I could have had for this kit is inconsequential at the price point this kit is at. You need this kit if you don't have it already. I just wish I had shaved off the nubs again. I did do some sanding on the torso, but the size of some of the leftovers is genuinely shameful now that I look at them. I still remember having a blast making this kit, so it's not like it's wrong to do this. Please keep this in mind if you're a beginner to the hobby. As long as you're having fun, then who cares? But for me, after seeing what I can do now, part of me is compelled to just fix these so bad. This is the first kit I partially built outside the house. I brought it over to a friend's house for parallel crafts work. They were building Lego while we watched the film. The experience was great. I've done parallel play before, so parallel crafts, toys, was awesome. Onto the kit itself though, this is a lovely oldie with a few flaws. Aesthetically, this is peak Mono Eye. I adore the design. It cuts an intimidating figure, the detailing is top notch, and I think it's got something for almost anyone. Speaking of, take a gander at the spread of accessories you get with this kit. An opinion I see circulated is that too many accessories detract from a kit, but I disagree. More options, to me, means more ways to express your love for a kit, and as a bonus, makes for easy custom fodder. Comfort especially. Want a shotgun? Sure, but with a stock or without. Saber guy? We got those. Bazookas? Maybe something unconventional? You bet yo ass we got that. Finally, this guy is well articulated. You got all the standard stuff that performs well as on the shoulders and knees, which further enhance what you can pose with this guy. Onto the flaws, and all of them have to do with looseness. The head and neck are the most egregious, with both being moved with a simple touch. The spike on its left arm don't have the strongest connection, but they can be fixed with glue. The attachment clip for the shotgun is prone to falling off, and the bazookas have trouble when held in the hand. But these aren't deal breakers. Still a very passable kit. As for my build, and yep, still playing nubs. I'll give myself some slack though, since this was built outside the house and I was distracted. I think there's one more kit I'll be critical of nub presence before mentioning it offhand, because I imagine most of y'all are sick of the self-flagellation at this point. Shenlong. What a stable king. Originally, I only got this guy so my Leo had something to pose with. But this is what truly sold me on the high-grade After Colony line being fantastic. So let's just get into the merits of this kit. First and foremost, the stability. This kit has excellent balancing, capable of holding poses with only a single foot, although it does take time to get right. This matched with fantastic articulation, with special note in the lower half and the right arm, meaning the world is your oyster with this kit. Final positive note, the detail is amazing. There's so many little grooves and panels that make this a delight on the eyes. My only gripe with it is it only has one set of metallic green stickers for the shoulders, which feels needlessly cheap. Like, come on. Really? And here's the last kit I'm going to be nub critical of myself. This poor thing looks like I didn't even get a solid attempt with the amount of nubs I left on it. This is why experienced builders advocate taking time with your builds, because not only do you save money on kits and avoid burnout, but the finished product should be better in the end. Take it from me, spend some time. So this is my very first gym kit, chosen because I wanted some Zeta Rep in my collection. I didn't originally see the appeal of these guys, but after building up my original trio, I can definitely see it now. So kit-wise, you have a very stable build, as well as decals, or decals, one or the two. This was the first time, I don't count Blue Destiny Unit 1, because that thing should always have the decals on. It offers some base level customization to you out the gates, and there's a lot to say when a kit does that for you. And this thing articulates well for a rigid design, so those who love posing can get some work done here. My only real negative is the ankle armor. This connection doesn't hold up too well from tension when the leg is against it, and that seam line is just, ugh, it's hideous. All in all though, a fantastic kit. Gym lovers eat well. As for my builds, again, still leaving nubs on, but they're a little bit better here. More importantly, I want to focus on my decal work. There's still room to improve on alignment, on the arms, and maybe a little restraint on the torso. Not half bad for personalizations. I feel pretty okay about my work here. Another build on the go, Chimera's Vidar has a lot of good things going for it. The aesthetics are on point, combining the curves that Chimeras was known for with the sharp edges of Vidar, which is masterful. Again, being an IBO Gundam frame, it's also simple, especially if you built one before. Finally, you've got some nice articulation options, most interesting being the shield arms on the back, making for some dynamic poses. On the negative side, there are a couple build quality issues. The drill lance, at least with my prints, refuses to fully connect after several attempts to fix the issue without resorting to cement. Additionally, somehow the torso polycaps managed to snap, weakening the connection. Now this could have been my fault, but I've done minimal posing work with the arms prior to the snap, so I have no clue. Some of the color correction stickers are a real pain with the areas they cover, particularly around the arms. Finally, there is something to be said about stability. The feet, surprisingly, are not the problem, even if they are a little unintuitive. But rather, it's the backpack and the lance. The backpack does have a few connections that don't hold strongly and can easily be knocked off. And the lance, because of the physics of being a giant, and the IBO looseness manifested in the wrist for KV here, does not offer much in the way of posing unless you take matters into your own hands. The kit is still good, it's just starting to edge closer to a mixed experience for me. Now when it comes to my performance with Chimera's Vidar, I think I did a pretty swell job. There's not too many nubs left over, and while the stickering is not perfect, it's definitely pretty good considering how difficult these stickers are to work with. Overall, I think I did pretty good despite not committing to sanding or whatnot. The very first no grate I have built, and the only way to get a 1/44 scale bolt. I wasn't spoiled for choice, however, I was optimistic. And there are a few merits for this kit. Existing for one, but also I love the texture that the shoulders have. Almost like a cast iron feeling that really helps sell this machine as one of raw strength. One can argue the limited articulation of the line works in its favor here as well. Finally, there's some real solid color separation for the time. Now still, Bandai must hate the thing because it's got issues beyond being left behind. Namely, the waist. Good lord, but it's the most flimsy configuration to hold up the complex waist armor. So much so that it further limits what you could do posing-wise. I'm also not a fan of the feet. The lack of a plate to cover the supports really detracts from the visuals. Now for its time, it's an okay kit. Now for my work on this guy, nubs have been traded for marks instead, meaning I did bother shaving. I'd call this an improvement, but I still wish I took the time to sand them, because it's a no grade. You gotta put in the effort to make them look good. As for the stickers, I think I did pretty good. Normally, I've flubbed somewhere, but there are no bumps and minimal peel on the complex ones, so I feel pretty good about that. I think I did okay for an okay kit. Yet another build I did, my friends. Gushion Rebake, I prefer to call it Gushin, is probably the most challenging IBO kit I've made thus far. Not to say it's bad, but I definitely had some struggles in completing this one. Build-wise, you get the simplicity of the Gundam frame, but with the added complexity of the backpack arms, meaning the experienced and the new can get something out of this kit. This also makes it fun to pose, as not many kits offer you 2 sets of arms, meaning you have the potential for some visually dynamic poses. However, there are some issues. Accessory-wise, this kit is a bit lacking, with just the sniper mode head, the gun, and the shield. Though I don't think it should count because it's also a part of the armor. I think they should have at least included another gun. It feels under-equipped compared to the rest of the line. It's also not the most stable kit, prone to wobbling due to the added weight at the back. Finally, holy stickergeddon, there's a lot of these guys, and while I don't mind the simple guys, the complex ones, especially on the face, really make the experience less enjoyable. Probably my least favorite IBO kit, but not awful. Now, with how I handled this kit, not my best one. There are plenty of nub marks, and the stickers are a little flubbed to be sure. Also, I think it's time that I mention, I usually make one error with each kit I build, usually missing a part or building things in the wrong orientation. I tend to forget, but this time, I created a stress mark on the right foot because I had the orientation of the ring connector wrong. I was definitely a little bit of a dumbass with this guy, but we can't always be perfect. Old and delightful kit. The DOM shows the importance of little details in a build. For starters, you can make 2 separate mobile suits with this kit, thanks to the Rick DOM being the same suit with different specs, meaning only a few new parts. It's not much, but it's nice to have the choice. Stability and articulation wise, this build ain't no slouch either. You got a solid range of motions on the joints, articulation on the bazookas, and even the mono eye, with the 2 axes available, all while staying firmly in position. That mono eye in particular is why I like this kit so much. Suits with a similar head often forgo this, which is practical but also disappointing. Finally, the simplicity and quality of this build, on top of it all, make it a kit that will stand the test of time. I think the only thing that really detracts from it is the shooting hand comes apart a bit too easily. But that's a really minor knock on the record for this guy. As for how I did with this, I say okay. Nubs are less pronounced but still present. I've also flubbed the bazooka's lens by not shaving enough excess, which resulted in a long process in trying to remove and fix it, and damaging the sticker in the process. Things are definitely getting better. By far my favorite IBO kit to this day. I didn't expect it when I first got the kit, but ever since building it, my appreciation has grown tremendously. Of course, we start by mentioning the simplicity as it follows the IBO Gundam frame, but then add some complexity and articulation in the armor, allowing for more posing options. The stickers are also quite nice and simple. They're almost all just placed and flattened, no bending needed. Finally, I just like how it poses on the ground. The feet are nice and simple, also meaning sturdy compared to the line's preferred style. There is one flaw. Yep, it's got some IBO looseness. The torso and the right hand don't hold their positions well, but honestly, I feel like it's a bit more manageable compared to other kits in the line. So take that as you will. Now, in terms of how I did with this kit, this is probably the best so far. nub marks are mostly unnoticeable, and the stickers are well done. I really struck it out with this guy. Now here's an interesting one. See, most of my kits are the ones that got represented in Gundam Breaker 4, but this fella was bought because I was on a budget, but craving the build. I'd say this guy is pretty alright. Articulation, while not revolutionary, is loose enough to be easy for posing, but sturdy enough to hold its position. There's a plethora of accessories as well, making for plenty of options to set up your personal Zaku. And at the price point it's at, being a solid kit makes it amazing. Now it's not perfect. The head crest is fairly loose and easy to knock off. The looseness of the joints is also mildly concerning for the long term. But it's still a good kit. There's just a few things you might want to consider. Now my performance on this kit was okay. Nub marks are still present, but I did try to get rid of them. I've also performed a repair on this kit after I've had it for a while. The skirt attachment point snapped while I was panel lining this thing. Overall, not a bad job. Boy howdy, now this is a little guy with a lot to offer. It is such an amazing build for a grunt suit, and I just gotta gush over it here. Firstly, I need to state that this thing only has a few polycaps, and they're all balls. This means you can expect these connections to hold firmly for years. The plastic is also amazing. I was able to shave off the nubs exclusively, and you can't tell that most of them were even there. Finally, this thing has some extra articulation. The limbs are pretty standard for grunts, but then there's the shoulders, the skirts, the back ankle armor, the wrist armor, the hands. Just amazing. Do we even have a legitimate grievance with this guy? No? Like, there's this mold line on the ankle armor, but that's it. If you don't have this kit, you need it. Now for my performance, I did great without sanding. There are a few marks that could go with like a once over, but the majority of the kit is clean. I'm impressed, to say the least. The barsum. First and foremost, I must apologize to this kit. I wasn't super fair to it in this post, and I was exposed to much more egregious kits later on. And honestly, it's a pretty solid kit. Firstly, the stability is amazing. Everything feels like it can hold for decades, which is impressive considering the amount of mobility this kit has to offer. The color separation is also top-notch. If anything, looking back on this kit exposes just how inadequate my tools were and how good I was eating with the kits I've built so far. I think the only thing I'll still hold true is that some of the stickers were a hassle due to how small they were. But yes, this is a great kit, and that is why I will always apologize to this kit whenever I find my new worst build. Now when it comes to my personal performance, there's still quite an amount of nub marks, which I feel like I could have handled if my perception of the kit was better at the time. I did do a decent job with the stickers though, as fickle as the small ones were. I'll have to do a custom to make it up to this guy. Duel was my first introduction to the Seed line, and I say it was a smooth one. It was also my first exposure to full armor styled kits, and well, I think it's best to get to the kit itself. Now, this one shows the merits of an older build, because while it doesn't have the range of motion displayed by newer kits, it feels really sturdy and stable for posing. Good fundamentals can take you a long way with this guy. I also like the use of ABS here, as it helps the frame pop out nicely. The stickers feel like a nice medium between the ease of simple flat stickers and the detail of stickers that bend around the parts. Not too difficult and effective with color correction. It also comes with additional decals, or decals, should the builder want them. I think my only real issue with the kit is the assault shroud around the torso comes off with little effort. I mean, you gotta handle this guy with a little care. Otherwise, it's a pretty good kit for its time. Now for Duel, I did pretty good. Minimal nub marks, the stickers were well done, and even though I didn't do the extra decals, I might revisit this one. Good stuff all around. Great on you, Duel. Now this is a kit I adored. I even streamed this build on Twitch because I was in love with the design and I needed a sub-goal for myself. The Char's counter-attack designs just strike true to me. Now for the kit itself, it's a fairly large one compared to other suits in the line, but not to the point of excess, which I like. It also features some funnels that can be posed alongside the Yagdoga without needing individual stands, a feature missing from a different kit of notable size. We'll get to that one. Overall build quality is great. It feels sturdy and looks fantastic. I do have two stinges with the kit though. First, this is my first experience with something I like to call Zeon full stock syndrome, where the rifle stock does not pose well with how the arms are designed. It's not as bad as other kits with this issue, but it does limit what you can do while also looking good. As for the other, while the inclusion of the funnel posts was good, I do think they're a little lacking in the stability department. I must be doing something wrong, but I can't get these to stick in a way that makes me feel happy. It's still a fantastic kit, just a few letdowns. Now how did I do for this one? I did decent. I only shaved my nubs, but from the front you really can't see any. Behind there are a few, but it's not too shabby on the cleanup. I also did decent on the few stickers that were here, so I'd say this is probably the highest tier of decent work I've done. The Hyaku shitty. Or maybe I shouldn't say that anymore. See, this was the first time I was exposed to undergates, and naturally, I was averted by it, especially with how flimsy the pearlescent gold felt. But ever since that point, I've seen far worse, and the opportunity to fill it again doing panel lining gave me a better appreciation for the kit. For example, the amount of detail that's packed on this lanky frame is astonishing, save for the color separation. It helps establish a clear figure underneath the gaudy gold. Even still, it's not my favorite. There's still a few problems with the build of the head, at least for my print anyways. It feels rather flimsy. But is it really a bad kit? No, I don't think so. My performance with this kit really helps confirm because despite all my bad habits, I really have to look for any nub marks on the suit itself. Weapons, not so much. I'm also impressed with my stickers. Nearly flawless placement. For a kit I wasn't fond of, I certainly did my damn best to make it. This was my first exposure to the 00 line, and it made a pretty strong impression. Now, I've seen negative opinions circulated around about the line, and honestly, I still love it and the developments it brought. But it's better to talk about the kit itself to demonstrate. This guy feels sturdy and stable for posing. It's also fairly detailed, with plenty of grooves fit for panel lining. The last positive touch is the articulation. It has a nice range of motion, and the double jointed legs are amazing, adding more posing possibilities. Even though I like it, there are a few flaws I have to be objective about. Namely, the accessories. These things do not have the same sturdiness and stability that the suit has. The beam saber hilts, especially on the shoulders, are prone to falling off while posing. The GN blades have a similar issue when sheathed, with the whole storage component popping off with the wrong hip movement. The Jin sword is the most egregious by far. The gun/handle is loosely connected to the blade/barrel portion, which is loosely connected to the shield mount. This really hurts the weapon and the kit, as it's easily the most dynamic weapon in the franchise, so to have it be so shoddy is damaging to its reputation. One last peeve of mine is the lack of beam parts. There is a full-length, single-color saber included in the kit, but it's a recurring problem with the line, and I feel like it's a bit cheap in my opinion. Still, if you overlook these flaws, these kits are still good. Onto my performance, I would say mixed. I did pretty well with stickers, but I think some of these nub marks are a little too close to being nubs. Especially seeing what I could do at this point, I should have been a little bit more diligent. This is a humble little fellow I like. I like it so much that I'm now a fan of the Yellow Goop design as a whole, which I admittedly was a little lukewarm on at first. Let's talk about what makes this kit capable of that effect. First, for high grade, the Jaeger has plenty of details. Grooves, raised panels, and the rifle. Nice and fresh. You also have a quality, sturdy build that can balance nicely. Final notes, while the articulation is pretty okay, I like the elbows on this one. The added range of motion allows for some interesting posing options. But as much as I like the kit, it does have a few minor problems. For one, can you really see the model eye? The eye is so hard to make out without proper lighting, because it's a transparent piece instead of a sticker, on top of being small. Some of the gray detailed pieces also feel pretty loose, so I glued them to keep them put. Finally, it is a victim of Xeon full stock syndrome. The stock and arm just do not work together, making firing poses difficult to achieve something natural. It's not perfect, but I still like it, and I'm happy it made the Yellow Goop pattern interesting to me. As for my performance, this was another okay outing. Some of the marks are a bit too noticeable for my liking, but I did also do well with the decals, and glue efforts are invisible to the naked eye. Nothing worth beating myself up about. Oh man, where do I begin with this one? This kit is great. It's everything I wish I gotten out of my first Zaku, and literally more. Let's talk about why. First, the detail and build quality are fantastic. It's a massive step up from the Zaku 2 I experienced in the beginner set. I'll also give minor praise to the improved articulation. While it's not massively different, the added mobility to the knees, waist, and hips allow for better posing. The decals included also help this thing pop and aren't overly demanding. Finally, let's talk about the extra stuff you get with this guy. You get the standard Zaku 2 loadout, plus a Dom Bazooka, a spare machine gun magazine, a rack that attaches all the weapons to the shield, extra hands, and spare parts. This kit is simply a smorgasbord of stuff I like, so much so that I can't really find anything egregious or negative to say about it. It's just that good. Now for my performance, I think that by this point, this was my best work. I did my absolute best to shave and sand away as many marks as possible. And while I didn't get everything, I certainly got a lot. The decals, while added much later, are pretty well placed. I even did a repair on the one mobility boosters on the leg, after flubbing the construction and damaging it as I tried to separate the parts. The only part I could have done better was not to get tired out by the point of the weapons, because I clearly got lazy there. Overall, fantastic job on a fantastic kit. Now you may have noticed that things have changed here a little bit, and we only stopped at a pretty early point, considering I've built a lot more Gunpla. So the thing is, this video has gone on long enough, and actually working on this video has gone even further than I'd ever hoped to anticipate. I got a little busy. Life is a little hectic, and I'm frankly just not that great. My time management skills are a bit shoddy, unfortunately. So I decided to split this retrospective in half, covering at least 25 separate kits. I built 50. I really hope I could get it all done in one video, but it seems beyond me, as much as I'd like to, wish of myself. Special thanks to Mion, Sherry, and Charles Ritiel for providing access to the OST used in Gundam Breaker 4, so this video actually had some music to go along with it. Special thanks to Bandai and the musicians of GB4 as well for providing said soundtrack. All rights are reserved. And thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you could leave a like, comment, and subscribe maybe even, it'd be very helpful towards me. Again, I really wish I was a lot better at this whole content creation stuff. Part of me wants to take it super serious, like really get it down into my system, get like a proper schedule going. But the other part of me is like, it's going to be a lot. I'm not even touching on things that would improve my life as a person. So it's kind of like this balancing act that I'm horrible at. Maybe I should get like time management classes or something. Talk to a shrink or something. But yeah, I hope you have a great one. Whether a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night. You have a great one. And I will see you next time.